about Joe?
What can I say about Joe? He's quite shy. I mean, he comes from Shrewsbury. Obviously, he comes with a very good reputation of a very good young goalkeeper, but he had to prove himself. I remember very fondly, I wanted to get him settled in, so back then I was the man about the town in Manchester. I used to go out a little bit too much, I'm not going to lie, but I really enjoyed it. On one night, I took out Joe, just to, settle nerves and whatnot. There's a place called Sugar Lounge back in the day. He'll remember exactly what I mean. He's probably smiling right now. And basically, he rang me around 10:30 and said, "Meeks, where are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm just 5 minutes away." It got to about 11:15. "Meeks, I thought you was around the corner." I said, "Joe, I can see you, I'm just at the end of the road." It got to about 11:30, and I just turned up. I hadn't even left my house. And any other person in that moment would have just left and sort of just been like, "Who does this guy think he is? I'm not waiting around." But it just showed you the measure of the man and how humble he was. And basically, okay, this is how it is. I'm going to get you back one day. And he waited for me for about an hour outside the club, freezing, a young Joe Hart. And that is how I introduced him to Manchester City. But he was just so humble with it. And ever since that day, we just got a stronger and stronger bond. And he was just an amazing character, really was.
How important was Joe to the success of that Manchester City squad?
Joe, when it comes to importance, his character in the dressing room. And when I first met him, he was shy and you could see he had personality and character. But every season he grew and he grew. And don't forget, he wasn't playing at the start. He went on loan to Birmingham, was outstanding for Birmingham, come back. And you just see he grew in stature. He would start talking in the dressing room. One thing I would say about Joe Hart, he was dedicated, he was humble, and he was inspirational. Them three things, when it comes to Joe Hart, is what I think about. Because even when, I would say, his back's against the wall, he would always find a way to rise to the top. And that's the biggest compliment. He had all the talent in the world, but it was his mindset that was completely different to a lot of footballers that I played with. It was incredible.
Yeah, we've seen that in the time that Joe's been here at the club. What have you made of his time at Celtic? Because Joe's spoken openly about, before he came here, he felt a bit disillusioned with the game, didn't know whether he would have another big club or more success. I mean, he's loved his time at Celtic and we've loved having him here. Have you been watching on from the sidelines?
Yeah, I watch all the time, Joe. And I think before he went to Celtic, and we know the size of the club. It's a club I loved when I was younger because of Henrik Larsson. His son as well. So I've always had an eye on Celtic. But when Joe went there, I remember him speaking to me before he went, and basically he just said he wanted to feel loved. He went through a time where things were not going the way he wanted, but he wasn't going to give up. Go to Celtic, big club, play games, and that's exactly what he's done. Go there and win things and feel important, because when you're a human being, forget footballer for a minute, you basically want to feel valued, and he felt valued from day one. And you know what? I'm gutted he's calling it a day at the end of the season, because he's still got more to go. But I'm just happy he's doing it on his own terms,
Just finally, Micah, Joe's in the room, of course, so I know he can't talk back to you, but you can maybe say to him, we're here to pay tribute to Joe. Is there anything you'd like to say to him?
Joe, I would just like to say, you are a true inspiration. I don't want to sound cringy, I don't want to sound, go over the top too much, but to see the progress you've made, not just as a footballer, but as a man, you've evolved, and it's quite emotional when you obviously said the news a couple of months ago now that you would be retiring, it did get me a little bit emotional, but it made me happy at the same time that you're doing it on your terms, and you've done absolutely everything. It's going to be a massive loss to the game, not just football in general, but the changing rooms, the laughter, the banter, the character. So I would just like to say from the bottom of my heart, congratulations on an unbelievable career. And your life doesn't stop now. You've got many years to go, so all the best. And yeah, you deserve everything you get.